My wife cheated, and I found out in the worst way. I, 26 male, found out my wife of 2 years, 25 female, has been cheating on me our whole relationship. We dated for 3 years before we got married, so we've been together for 5 years. The way I found out has made things even more traumatizing. We both have always had our own computers, but it's not rare for us to use each other's occasionally. So last week, my computer was dying, and I plugged it in and grabbed hers so I could use it on the couch while I watched some background TV. I noticed an external hard drive was attached, which I had never seen before. I didn't know if it was important or not, so before I unplugged it, I checked to see what was on it. It was a bunch of videos, all with titles of guys' names. I clicked on the first one and was immediately shocked. It was my wife giving sloppy top to a guy on our couch. I closed the video after a couple of seconds, but for some stupid reason, I opened it again and watched the whole thing. I ended up watching videos of my wife cheating on me with dozens of different men for the next couple of hours. I don't know why I did it to myself. I didn't watch every video but enough of them to scar me for life. We don't have the most vanilla intimate life, but the stuff in the videos literally made me sick. The two worst were where a guy was giving her a golden shower in our shower, and then she licked his dirt star while he said, "Make sure to kiss your husband with that dirty tongue when he gets home." The second was 3 guys who were clearly 18 to 19 years old all going at it with my wife while laughing at her and doing stuff I never imagined my wife was capable of. I threw up after that and put the computer down. When my wife came home and saw the computer with the hard drive, she immediately tried to sneak it away, but I told her right away that I saw what was on it. Her reaction was seriously to cry and apologize. She tried claiming she loves me more than anything. I confronted her about the 2 most horrifying videos, and she claimed she loved and respected me too much to do the stuff she did in the videos with me but needed to feel degraded sometimes. I wanted to get angry when I heard that, but I was honestly too depressed to react. We haven't told anyone yet, and I've just been sleeping on the couch. She still thinks we can save our marriage, but as soon as I get the strength, I'm divorcing her. I don't think I'll ever be able to tell anyone, other than the therapist I'll 100% be needing, about this, so staying anonymous on Reddit to get it off my chest felt like the only option. Final update, my girlfriend dated me because of a dare. Man, sorry it took so long. I got busy with graduation and was waiting for things to be finished up. Now that I think it is, this may be the final update to conclude this mess. My ex got grounded, of course. All technology has been stripped away and she was forced to delete all her socials in front of her dad, besides Facebook cause of family connections. She isn't allowed out of the house and he's hoping to get her a job over the summer. All that money will be directly funded to her college savings and none for spending, so laughing my butt off. Her dad also messaged me that she ended up ratting out her friends' addresses and he went to each house to talk to the parents. I don't know what happened to them, but some were furious at graduation. I know they had a huge fight with my ex and everyone dropped her as a friend. They dropped each other as well. The whole friend group basically crumbled except like 2 of them. I'm pretty sure my ex probably has 1 or 2 friends left, if any at all. She was well popular then dropped to the bottom of the food chain. It's hilarious. None of the girls confronted me, except my ex. She met her after graduation where I was heading back to the car with my parents. She stopped me midway. She apologized profusely and admitted she never actually saw me as a lover, but as a best male friend. She realized how much we had in common when she took me on that date and wanted to get to know me more. She's a lesbian, but wanted to keep the charade of us pretending to be lovebirds so her friends wouldn't think she's a freak for liking girls. They're quite homophobic and would have dropped her. They did anyway so. She also used the whole prank card as an excuse to not break up since I could have told people and word would have been spread around and it could have ruined her reputation too. Which is why they did the whole getting me framed for cheating thing. I'm surprised she suspended it for several months and got that far. It's impressive actually. If I hadn't caught her in time, she probably would have gotten through with it due to pressure. So basically she used me so people think she's straight and also not ruin her reputation if she came out that it was a prank to date me. The only thing I forgave her for was her being a lesbian. I'm a straight cis male, but I can't imagine how scary it might be to be in a circle full of homophobics, whom you knew since you were kids. If I was gay, she didn't want to be discarded as a social outcast. I'm sure she would have found plenty of friends who would have accepted her for who she is. We don't live in the 1900s, lol. Still, I understand why. I honestly would have rather her come out as a lesbian than using our relationship as a prank. It would have been so much easier to handle. In the end, I told her to leave me alone and that I blocked her. She understood and left. She was sobbing so much and was having a panic attack in the parking lot. I had to drag her away from my parents at one point since I didn't want them finding out what's been going on. I only told them we broke up and this is a final conversation to clear things up. I do feel bad for her, but I can't help her. I do hope she finds better friends honestly. Anyways, that's all for the update. I told her dad that I made a Reddit post about this situation. I didn't want to out her, so I asked him to ask her if it would be okay. She said yes. I don't know if she read my posts or not, but she definitely now knows I wrote about her to Reddit. Oops.
I found divorce papers in my air vent. I, 29 female, and my husband, 30 male, have been married for 4 years now, together for 7, and it's going fantastically well. He's handsome, cute, kind, loving, and makes me feel safe and wanted and loved and protected. He takes me on dates, shows physical affection wherever he can, and also just makes me feel happy. We have no kids but we are trying for it. So the other day I was cleaning the house. I'm a housewife, and I was cleaning the air vent at the top of the staircase aisle, because we had never cleaned it ever since we bought the house, and when I opened it, there was a box, an unmarked box. I took it out and then opened it and then there was a note and divorce papers, all ready with our names on it. The only thing wasn't filled in was the signatures of us. I was crushed. He had just gone to work after kissing me for 7 to 8 minutes and hugged me, and everything has been going great, so why this? I opened the note, and it read as follows: "It is with immense regret and sadness that your love between you and my name has ran its course. I'm sorry, his name, you didn't deserve this, or you did, I don't know, maybe she cheated, maybe you did, maybe the love didn't last for you. All those times, all those moments of being with her, are of no use now. In the end, she did go away, or you rather made her leave. She's gone, never coming back. It's okay, you effing R-word piece of shite. You didn't deserve her in the first place. Dumb and delusional is what you are, since you didn't push her away in the first place. You don't deserve love, you deserve to be shot." Or, "She cheated on you, I'm sorry for that. She let another man's D inside her and she didn't back off. She had an affair, physical or emotional, and she didn't choose you. Forget her, forgive her, because to be amity is to be forgiving, and you deserve the peace, my friend. You did everything that you could, but she wanted more. Listen to, we don't understand each other, from ST3, and go to sleep. Hit the gym tomorrow. I'm here for you. Take care, mate. Yours, his name." His note was from himself, by himself, for himself. I'm crying right now. I've never cheated on him and never even had the thought of cheating on him. All I want is him to be with me. What should I do? It breaks me to see how he thinks like this.
Roommate let his dad search my room, and now they're angry because I have made love. I live in a pretty nice apartment with only one other roommate. I plan on moving out after the lease is up in a little over half a year to move in with my girlfriend instead. My roommate has been pretty pissed off about it, but I've given him extended warning. He has a lot of other friends he could move in with or get to live with him, but he doesn't want to downgrade his standard of living because most people couldn't pay half the rent. His parents pay for everything. I got home from work the other night and realized the door to my room was slightly open. I didn't think much of it until I started noticing things in my room were not how I left them. Like every drawer in my dresser was perfectly closed, and stuff that had been left on my desk weren't in the same position they were left in. Again, I didn't think much of it and thought that I probably just didn't recall what my room looked like before I left. Then I got to the project on my desk. I'm working on building an electrical component for industrial use, and after attempting to get back to work on it, I noticed it had been destroyed. I was able to diagnose with some of my equipment that it had been a static shock that broke it. This sent me off, and I tore through my room, and noticed everything in my drawers had been gone through. Obviously whoever did it tried to cover up what they had done, but it was very noticeable. One of the drawers that had been gone through contained stuff like rubbers and spermicide, among other more embarrassing things. I was pretty angry and embarrassed at this point, so I went to my friend's room and banged on the door since I wanted to know why he was poking around my room like that. He denied it at first, however. After I wouldn't let the matter drop, he eventually confessed that his father had stopped by and he went into my bedroom to look around. I wanted to know why he didn't stop him, and he blew up on me and went off about how terrible of a roommate I was and I didn't deserve to have him stopped, despite me having the rent and utilities in my name, as well as cleaning up after him constantly. He then told me that his dad is angry at me for the stuff he found in my room. He told me him and his dad think my girlfriend is obviously a W-word, and it's a good thing I'm moving out because I couldn't get any kind of word on edgewise, until I threw my hands up and left. I drove to my girlfriend's place and I'll be staying there for a bit. I also got a text from a very good friend of ours that he's going around telling people what his dad found in my room, lol. So here's my situation. Can't walk away from the lease since it's in my name. He's a subletting on it, 8 months left on the lease. The electrical component that was destroyed cost me well over $1,000, and I was going to be using it at work. Friend refuses to speak to me, and honestly the stuff he said about my girlfriend is beyond unforgivable. Door to my room is now locked from the outside, but I'm concerned he's gonna try to get in some other way. I'm not really looking for advice though, I just need to vent because this is effing insane.
My boyfriend doesn't want to marry me because I'm an immigrant. I, 29 female, moved to the United States 7 years ago as a grad school student from Indonesia. I met my boyfriend, 30 male, a few months after I moved, and we've been together ever since. My boyfriend is a US citizen. After I graduated, we had a serious discussion about where our relationship was headed. I made it very clear that I wanted to eventually get married and have children. My boyfriend echoed the sentiments. I remember asking him if he saw that happening with me because I didn't want to be in a relationship with no future. He told me he loved me, and that we were definitely headed in that direction. As of last week, we've been dating for 7 years. We've occasionally talked about marriage, but we were both busy with our respective careers, so the timing didn't seem quite right. However, recently my company announced that there's a chance that my department's work will be outsourced. I'm on an H-1B visa, temporary worker, so this means that I need to start looking for a job as soon as possible if I want to continue staying in the US. Last week, during our anniversary, I brought this up. I asked him if he thought it was the right time to think about getting married, as that will also help with sorting out my visa issues. He looked like he was about to vomit. After much prodding, he confessed that he wasn't planning on us getting married before I was able to get a green card, permanent resident, in the US. I was incredibly confused because he'd never mentioned this before. His reason was that he didn't want to be used as a visa mule, his words not mine, by me, and that he wanted to make sure that I married him because I loved him and not because it was a ticket to getting to stay in the US, which can only happen when I get a green card. It took me a while to process what he said, and I asked him if he'd be okay to move to Indonesia with me, which he wasn't. I did not react well and ended up leaving because I couldn't deal with what just happened. I'm still in disbelief. I started dating him because he was the kindest, most thoughtful, and generous man I'd met. I now feel like I wasted 7 years. While the visa issues are certainly a problem, I did not date him with the intention of making him my safety net. I cannot believe that even after nearly a decade together, he doesn't know what kind of person I am. I feel like this relationship is possibly over and it hurts. It hurts so much.
Today I messed up by doing what my ex-wife says and ignoring the accident, and 2 people passed away. So this happened, I don't know, 2008-ish, and it's a memory that unfortunately won't go away in my life. It popped up again unintentionally and unprovoked the other night, and it just doesn't sit right with me, and I'm always left with regret and remorse. So the year was 2008 or so. I tried Googling the news headlines to corroborate my claim, but I'm not very good with that sort of advanced search. My then wife at the time is not a good person at heart. She was a Karen in training and very self-centered. We were heading up the 101 in Cali for her cousin's wedding one weekend. I want to say it was around Salinas, before the exit to head west to Monterey. When the accident happened, I saw a spray helicopter about 100 yards on our right take off from the fields and watched it get about 50 feet in the air. Not too high for a helicopter, but enough to be low for a helicopter. I saw it hovering there and then saw the propellers for a second, quite visibly, which caught my attention because you should honestly never see them rotating that fast when airborne. So now I'm paying complete attention to the helicopter, and I watch smoke come out its engines and then just stop and plummet to the ground like a rock. I saw it happen and pointed it out, and I started to pull over to the shoulder to help, and she yells at me. "What are you doing?" "I'm pulling over to go help." "What are you going to do?" "I've got a fire extinguisher in the car. I can go put out the flames and try and pull them out." "You're not a Marine anymore. You can't just go running off and saving people anytime anymore." "But they could be hurt and I see smoke everywhere." "No, we're going to be late to the wedding. Let someone else deal with it." So away we went. I found out later on during the week in the news that the 2 people died inside from the fire before emergency services got there. The worst part is that when we finally arrived to her cousin's wedding, we found out that they deemed us unimportant enough for the actual ceremony, and it was the reception we were hurrying to. I feel like those deaths are on me and I should have done something. My parents will divorce if I don't break up with my girlfriend. I have a girlfriend at college and my parents don't approve of our relationship at all. Last few weeks they've been furious about it, and threatening to divorce. They told me not to date until I get my bachelor's, which is at least 1 semester from now, and to date only Asian, preferably Chinese American, girls. I'm Asian, and she's white. We didn't even do anything inappropriate. We're just close friends, often hang out together on campus, and we're in a swing dance club. I didn't even tell my parents about my relationship. How did they find out? My sister, 18 female, also goes to same college as me, and she always saw me walking around holding hands and eating in the cafeteria with the same girl. Instead of asking me about it, she told my parents. She took pictures of us from afar and used it as evidence against me. When I told my parents that both my girlfriend and I are legal adults, and that her parents approve of the relationship, they said, "You'll always be a child in our eyes, and her parents don't influence us." They're primarily mad because I kept my relationship a secret for so long, and secondary reason is that I'm breaking their expectations about dating. My grades are fine. I have a 3.8 GPA and got a summer internship, and I've never gotten in trouble at school. What's worse is that my sister was allowed to date as early as her freshman year in high school. She's even invited her boyfriends home and slept in the same bed as them, and went on vacations with their families. She's had like 3 boyfriends already, as she gets into dating drama frequently. When I, 3 years older than her, asked my parents if I could date, they said no, because they don't want me getting in trouble. She did mediocre in high school and barely squeaked out a 3.0 her first semester in college. When I told my parents that I love my girlfriend and I'm not breaking up with her, they said that they will divorce each other if I don't break up with her ASAP. They were forcing me to pull out my phone and text her, saying that I want to break up. I refused, arguing that they let my irresponsible, academically struggling younger sister date, but not me. My parents said that I value white trash over family, and that they spent 21 years raising a failure. I'm not a failure, my sister is. My dad hit me several times, giving me a black eye, while my mom lied on the floor crying, saying that she wishes she aborted me. Then he argued with my mom and screamed at each other. Meanwhile I grabbed my backpack with my stuff in it and drove off to my girlfriend's house about 90 minutes away. My parents fortunately don't know where she lives. When he noticed my car was missing, he called me but I didn't pick up. Then he texted me asking where I am and said that he would come get me. I told my girlfriend's family what happened, and they offered to let me stay with them until we go back to campus. My mom later texted me to inform me that my parents have filed a missing person report against me. I texted back, saying that I'm at my girlfriend's place, and that they can't stop me. I got my girlfriend's dad to call my parents, and he told them to F off, and that if they keep treating me like this they will take legal action themselves. I know it's only because she and I are very committed in our relationship, and her parents are supportive of it.
My therapist confessed his intimate thoughts about me. My therapist, who is in his late 50s, has always been wonderful. I started seeing him when I was 16, and I am now 18 as of 3 months ago. Our relationship has always been great, never unprofessional nor too uptight. We'd make jokes and create a relaxed environment while still having a proper therapy session, each lasting an hour. My therapist does freelance care and hosts his sessions in his home, which isn't unusual for older therapists. I've had many therapists who have home offices. To make it clear, my therapist has never discussed intimate matters with me besides childhood abuse. My therapist never flirted with me and never made inappropriate comments. The few times he's mentioned my appearance is during discussion of my eating disorder, where he'd reassure me I'm beautiful and shouldn't worry about my weight the way I do. I've always felt comfortable with him, and as a little fashion freak I wear all kinds of clothes and dress up often, even to therapy sessions. Today, I went in only wearing leggings and a baggy shirt as I'm on my period and couldn't stand the thought of wearing jeans or a skirt. Nothing out of the ordinary until we spoke of my eating disorder again, and he mentioned how attractive I am but was more persistent this time. He insisted my body was nice and that when I'd flirt with him, he takes it as a compliment. I laughed, but what, flirt with him? He's a married 50-something-year-old. I didn't say anything about it and changed the subject, and yet somehow we ended back at this same topic. He explained how once I was leaning over to show him something in my chest was a temptation. I laughed again, awkwardly, but he interjected, "I'm serious." I felt really uncomfortable and kept trying to change the subject, but he kept going. He referenced another time where I was writing something on the dining table and my chest pushed together were really tempting, and then he added onto it, "The creepiest part to me, or when you wore those fishnets." I won't bring up the fishnets. I've had dreams about those. What? My therapist explaining my 17 and 18-year-old body as tempting, and that he's dreaming of me in the clothing I wear. The worst part is when the session was over he told me, "I really enjoyed this session." A therapy session isn't usually enjoyable, but I'm sure he felt enjoyment talking about my body by the way he periodically adjusted himself through the session. He's great at his job, but this discussion has me considering getting a new therapist. I punched an autistic kid after he groped me and now everyone hates me. That grope was the last straw. I have known Troy since kindergarten and he has always been babied. It was always his autism that made him who he was. I don't know why, but he always had a crush on me. I rejected him gently multiple times but he never took no for an answer. As we grew older, he got worse. He started commenting on my chest, asking to touch them, asking to see them. His friends kept trying to convince me to show him because nobody would be nice enough to give him a chance, and in year 7, 6th grade, he started groping me. I told teachers but they kept saying that his autism doesn't make him know any better. It was only me. He got jealous when I was in the presence of another guy. He would have meltdowns and I got into trouble because I knew how upset he would get. No, I didn't. It was like my only purpose was to be his. I wasn't allowed to be my own person. The groping continued. I kept telling him to stop. He didn't listen. I remember crying on the floor and teachers just kept saying that his autism makes him like this and that I am being a good person by taking care of him. His groping hurt. I don't know how to explain it. He just grabbed me hard, and it hurt. The groping continued for 4 years. I was always his caretaker, his girlfriend, his best friend, I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. It was hot and I wore a skirt, and he proceeded to do it to me. I lost it and pushed him around the nose. His nose got broken and unfortunately now I am getting put into isolation for 2 months for bullying an autistic kid. He's not a kid though, he's a 16-year-old. He acts normal around his friends. He treats everyone else with respect. He's not a kid. Now everyone hates me. I have been receiving death threats and people have been saying he should have done worse. Now all I want to do is curl up and pass away. Maybe I should have been nicer. Maybe I should have been more sympathetic. Maybe I should have just accepted it. I could have been his only chance. For the record, I don't despise autistic people. He is not a representative of them. He is just an awful person. Troy is just a horrible person. Thank you for letting me vent.